Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be talking about ISO TC 307, the international standards and guidelines related to blockchain and DLT. We all mostly know about ISO 20022 or have heard about it, and there are still many XRP influencers mostly who mistakenly refer to cryptocurrencies as being ISO 20022 tokens, which is all false. However, how many of you are aware of ISO TC 307? In fact, I would argue that standard is more blockchain and DLT focused than ISO 20022 is. But before I go into it, let me quickly explain and do a recap of ISO 20022 for those who are new to the term. So, what is ISO 20022? To briefly summarize, ISO 20022 is a standard that focuses on financial messaging. It is a more data-rich and structured messaging standard outlined in a common language for financial institutions and systems to use. ISO 20022 focuses on the format, structure, and content of the messages exchanged between different financial systems. The idea behind ISO 20022 is to have a standard format for financial messages to be used by all financial institutions during payments, securities, trade finance, and other financial transactions. It is far more efficient and beneficial for financial institutions worldwide to have and adopt a universal messaging standard, which would improve interoperability and automation between financial institutions when exchanging financial messages. That is basically ISO 20022 explained in a nutshell. So you imagine a universal messaging standard for financial messages between financial institutions, and this messaging standard enables more enriched data within the messaging itself, which is an improvement or an enhancement from the previous messaging standard. That is basically ISO 20022. So what is ISO TC 307? As for ISO TC 307, it refers to a technical committee that is focused on developing blockchain and DLT specific standards and guidelines. It is a specialized committee of experts from different sectors, including academia, industry, government, etc., that are collaborating to develop international standards and guidelines related to blockchain and DLT. Under ISO TC 307, there have already been 10 ISO standards published and 7 ISO standards currently under development, all related to blockchain and DLT. There are currently 44 participating members and 20 observing members, all from different countries involved in ISO TC 307. The blockchain and DLT standards developed under ISO TC 307 covers a wide range of aspects such as interoperability frameworks, use cases, governance, smart contracts, NFTs, security, privacy, auditing DLT systems, and more. The aim of ISO TC 307 is to provide worldwide recognized blockchain and DLT standards in order to promote the widespread adoption of interoperability of DLT systems. By providing global recognized standards for DLT and blockchains, ISO TC 307 aims to enhance the trust, reliability, and interoperability of blockchain and DLT systems and to support their integration into various industries and sectors. So to compare the two standards, ISO 20022 and ISO TC 307, I would say the ISO 20022 standard is specifically for financial messaging, focusing on the structure and format of financial messages for financial institutions for when making payments, whereas ISO TC 307 is a committee that is working on blockchain and DLT standards and guidelines, focusing on the broader aspect of DLT technology and its applications. So let's look at who the convener is behind the topic of interoperability within ISO TC 307. It is none other than Gilbert Verdian. As the convener, he is responsible for arranging official meetings for the ISO TC 307 committee on the subject of interoperability. No kidding, out of all the wide range of topics ISO TC 307 covers, why do you think Gilbert Verdian is in charge of the subject of interoperability? So who is Gilbert Verdian? For those of you who don't know, he is the CEO of Quant Network and the founder of TC307 blockchain ISO standards. So he was actually one of the founders of ISO TC307, and he also is the CEO of Quant Overledger. So here is some of his accomplishments and his credentials. So Gilbert is building the Internet of Trust, and that's what he's trying to do with Overledger Quant Network. And he's the founder and CEO of Quant Network, tasked with connecting the world's networks to blockchains. So when you understand what Quant Network is about, Quant Network is designed for interoperability, and its aims is to connect the world's networks to blockchains and vice versa. So you imagine DLT systems, blockchains, and legacy systems, any type of system. With Quant Overledger, he wants to make everything interoperable, regardless of the blockchain type, whether it's permissioned, private, decentralized, you name it. Something that's used by banks, a network of banks and their consortium, or a legacy network like Swift. He wants to be able to enable connectivity between all these different networks, all these different world networks worldwide to DLT systems and vice versa. And he aims to do that with Quant Overledger. This sort of interoperability, he refers to it as building the Internet of Trust. So he was previously the Cisco of Vocalink, the UK's faster payments provider, and he's also worked for Cisco of NSW Health. Now, having over 20 years of industry experience, he has worked across government in Downing Street, HM Treasury, Cabinet Office, Ministry of Justice, and NSW Health, and private sector at CSC, EY, and HSBC. He's the author behind the blockchain ISO standard TC307. So he's a part of the committee of the ISO TC307 initiative and is the chair of the UK's National Committee on Blockchain and Distributed Ledger Technology. So as you can see, he has a prominent position when it comes to being a part of the ISO standard TC307 as one of the founders, and also being a chair of the UK's National Committee on Blockchain and Distributed Ledger Technologies. He's actively working to advance technology in the areas of AI, cybersecurity, blockchain, fintech, and health. So now does it make sense why Gilbert, he is the convener of the ISO TC307 part that is focused on interoperability. And when you look at what he's building Quant Overledger that's designed for interoperability. It makes a lot of sense now why he has that position, and it seems like they're putting the right man for the right job. So it should be pretty clear why Gilbert Verdian is connected to interoperability within ISO TC307. Not only does the man have the credentials, he is also the founder and CEO of the superior interoperability solution Quant Overledger. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume that Quant Overledger as an interoperability solution will have some influence and impact on the DLT standards and guidelines related to DLT interoperability that are being developed under ISO TC307. And remember, ISO TC307 are building DLT standards that they want to be universal, worldwide amongst DLT systems. And Gilbert Verdian is connected to the interoperability aspect of ISO TC307, and one can only assume, since he is also the CEO of Quant Overledger and he's building an interoperability solution for DLTs, that this is going to have an impact on the DLT standard itself and the guidelines, and Quant Overledger is going to have an influence on DLT interoperability when designing these standards. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so as to not miss my next video.